And moving straight into section 13 on the 30th of July, 2025, section, 13, entitled, in the second volume of the Red Book entitled Liber Secundus. The section is The Sacrificial Murder, Following from Hell. Handwritten draft as the 8th adventure. Okay. But this was the vision that I did not want to see, the horror that I did not want to live. A sickening feeling of nausea sneaks up on me, and abominable, perfidious serpents wind their way slowly and cracklingly through parched undergrowth. They hang down lazily and disgustingly lethargic from the branches, looped in dreadful knots. I am reluctant to enter this dreary and unsightly valley, where the bushes stand in arid stony defiles. The valley looks so normal. Its air smells of crime, of foul, cowardly deeds. I am seized by disgust and horror. I walk hesitantly over the boulders, avoiding every dark place for fear of treading on a serpent. The sun shines weakly out of a grey and distant sky, and all the leaves are shriveled. A marionette with a broken head lies before me amidst the stones. A few steps further, a small apron, and then behind the bush, the body of a small girl, covered with terrible wounds, smeared with blood. One foot is clad with a stocking and shoe, the other is naked and gorily crushed. The head, where is the head? The head is a mash of blood with hair and whitish pieces of bone, surrounded by stones smeared with brain and blood. My gaze is captivated by this awful sight. A shrouded figure, like that of a woman, is standing calmly next to the child. Her face is covered by an impenetrable veil. She asks, "What then do you say?" I, "What should I say? This is beyond words." She, "Do you understand us?" I refuse to understand such things. I can't speak about them without becoming enraged. She, "Why become enraged? You might as well rage every day of your life, for these and similar things occur every day." I, "But most of the time we don't see them." She, "So knowing that they happen is not enough to enrage you?" I, If I merely have something, if I merely have knowledge of something, it's easier and simpler. The horror is less real if all I have is knowledge." She, "Step nearer and you will see that the body of the child has been cut open. Take out the liver." I, "I will not touch this corpse. If someone witnessed this, they would think that I'm the murderer." She, "You are cowardly. Take out the liver." I, "Why should I do this? This is absurd." She, "I want you to remove the liver. You must do it." I, "Who are you to give me such an order?" She, "I am the soul of this child. You must do this for my sake." I don't understand, but I'll believe you and do this horrific and absurd deed." I reach into the child's visceral cavity. It is still warm. The liver is still firmly attached. I take my knife and cut it free of the ligaments. Then I take it out and hold it with bloody hands toward the figure. She, "I thank you." What should I do?" She, "You know what the liver means, and you ought to perform the healing act with it." In Memories, while commenting on the Liverpool dream, Jung noted, according to an older view, the liver is the seat of life. The seat of life. What is to be done? She, "Take a piece of the liver in place of the whole and eat it." What are you demanding? This is absolute madness. This is desecration, necrophilia. You make me a guilty party to this most hideous of all crimes. She, "You have devised the most horrible torment for the murderer, which could atone for his act. There's only one atonement. Abase yourself and eat." I cannot, I refuse. I cannot participate in this horrible guilt. She, "You share in this guilt?" I, "I share in this guilt?" She, "You are a man, and a man has committed this deed." Yes, I am a man. I curse whoever did this for being a man, and I curse myself for being a man." She, take part in his act, abase yourself and eat. I need atonement." So shall it be for your sake, for you are the soul of this child." I kneel down on the stone, cut off a piece of the liver, and put it in my mouth. My gorge rises, tears burst from my eyes, cold sweat covers my brow, a dull, sweet taste of blood. I swallow with desperate efforts. It is impossible. Once again and once again, I almost faint. It is done. The horror has been accomplished. I thank you. She throws her veil back, a beautiful maiden with ginger hair. Do you recognize me? How strangely familiar you are. Who are you? I am your soul. I am your soul. In Black Books 3, Jung noted, the curtain drops. What dreadful game has been played here? I realize nothing human is alien to me. It's from the Roman playwright Terence. He wrote to Herbert Reed in 1960. As a medical psychologist, I do not merely assume, I'm thoroughly convinced that nothing human alien to me is even my duty. Nothing human is alien to me is even my duty. Okay, then the commentary. The sacrifice has been accomplished. The divine child, the image of the God's formation, is slain, and I have eaten from the sacrificial flesh. The footnote. Instead of this sentence, the draft has, this experience accomplished what I needed. It occurred in the most abominable manner. The evil that I wanted performed the evil that I wanted performed the infamous deed, seemingly without me and yet with me, since I learned that I am party to all the horror of human nature. I destroyed the divine child, the image of my God's formation, through the most dreadful crime which human nature is capable of. It takes this atrocity to destroy the image of the God that drinks all my life force, so that I could reclaim my life. The child, that is, the image of the God's formation, not only bore my human craving, but also enclosed all the primordial and elemental powers that the sons of the sun, son of the sun, that the sons of the sun possess as an inalienable inheritance. Inalienable inheritance. The child, that is the image of the God's formation, bore not only my human craving, but also enclosed all the primordial and elemental powers that the sons of the sun possess as an inalienable inheritance. The God needs all this for his genesis. But when he has been created and hastens away into unending space, we need the gold of the sun. We must regenerate ourselves. But as the creation of a God is a creative act of highest love, the restoration of our human life signifies an act of the below, capital B, below. This is a great and dark mystery. Man cannot accomplish this act solely by himself, but is assisted by evil, which does it instead of man. But man must recognize his complicity in the act of evil. He must bear witness to this recognition by eating from the bloody sacrificial flesh. Through this act, he testifies that he is a man, that he recognizes good as well as evil, and that he destroys the image of the God's formation through withdrawing his life force, with which he also dissociates himself from the God. This occurs for the salvation of the soul, which is the true mother of the divine child. When it bore and gave birth to the God, my soul was of human nature throughout. It possessed the primordial powers since time immemorial, but only in a dormant condition. They flowed into forming the God without my help, but through the sacrificial murder, I redeemed the primordial powers and added them to my soul. Since they became part of a living pattern, they are no longer dormant, but awake and active and irradiate my soul with their divine working. Through this, it receives a divine attribute. Hence, the eating of the sacrificial flesh aided its healing. The ancients have also indicated this to us, in that they taught us to drink the blood and eat the flesh of the Savior. The ancients believed that this brought healing to the soul, i.e., the ritual of the Mass. There are not many truths, there are only a few. Their meaning is too deep to grasp other than in symbols. A God who is no stronger than man, what is he? You still should taste holy dread. How would you be worthy of enjoying the wine and the bread if you had not touched the black bottom of human nature? Hence you are lukewarm and pale shadows, proud of your shallow coastlines and broad country roads. But, but the floodgates will be opened. There are inexorable things from which only God can save you. The primordial force is the radiance of the sun, which the sons of the sun have carried in themselves for aeons and pass on to their children. But if the soul dips into radiance, she becomes as remorseless as the God himself, since the life of the divine child which you have eaten will feel like glowing coals in you. It will burn inside you like a terrible, inextinguishable fire. But despite all the torment, you cannot let it be, since it will not let you be. From this, you'll understand that your God is alive and that your soul has begun wandering on remorseless paths. You feel that the fire of the sun has erupted in you. Something new has been added to you, a holy affliction. Sometimes you no longer recognize yourself. You want to overcome it, but it overcomes you. You want to set limits, but it compels you to keep going. You want to elude it, but it comes with you. You want to employ it, but you are its tool. You want to think about it, but your thoughts obey it. Finally, the fear of the inescapable seizes you, for it comes after you slowly and invincibly. There is no escape. So it is that you come to know what a real God is. Now you'll think up clever truisms, preventive measures, secret escape routes, excuses, potions capable of inducing forgetfulness, but it's all useless. The fire burns right through you. That which guides forces you onto the way. But the way is my own self, my own life founded upon myself. The God wants my life. He wants to go with me, sit at the table with me, work with me. Above all, he wants to be ever present. But I'm ashamed of my God. I don't want to be divine, but reasonable. The divine appears to me as irrational craziness. I hate it as an absurd disturbance of my meaningful human activity. It seems an unbecoming sickness which has stolen into the regular course of my life. Yes, I even find the divine superfluous. There are then images 79 through image 97, so quite a few different images, and a few footnotes for that last paragraph, which I will briefly review. Yeah, in 1909, Jung had his house built at Kusnacht and had the following motto from the Delphic oracle carved above the door: Vocatus atque non vocatus Deus aderi. Called or not, the God will be present. It's from Erasmus. Explained by Jung as follows. It says, yes, the God will be on the spot, but in what form and to what purpose? I've put the inscription there to remind my patients and myself. Timor Dei initium sapientiae. Psalms 111:10, which reads, if I can just find it. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All those who practice it have good understanding. His praise endures forever. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Yeah, well, that seems about right. What a section. And so these images, there's obviously quite a few. Oh, he said in that footnote, here another not less important road begins, not the approach to Christianity, but to God himself. And this seems to be the ultimate question. It's Jung. And so I'm just checking all of these images now, of which there are many. It's like a series of mandalic structures. Won't be long. Really, like it's really incredible that he was able to make these as well. Incredibly imaginative, very geometrical. There were a few longer footnotes. Um, yeah, this main one referring to image 89. Anyway, it's one of them. And it goes in Black Book 7, in Jung's fantasy of October 7, 1917, a figure appears, H-A, capital H-A, who says he's the father of Philemon. Jung's soul describes him as a black magician. His secret is the runes, which Jung's soul wants to learn. He refuses to teach them, but shows some examples, which Jung's soul asks him to explain. Some of the runes later appear in these paintings. About the runes in this painting, Ha explained, quote, see the two with different feet, one earth foot and one sun foot, which reach towards the upper cone and have the sun inside. But I have made one crooked line toward the other sun, therefore one must reach downwards. Downward. Meanwhile, the upper sun comes out of the cone and the cone gazes after it. Dejected about where it is going, one has to retrieve it with a hook and would like to place it in this small prison. Then the three have to stand together, unite, and twirl up at the top, curled. With this, they manage to free the sun from its prison again. Now you make a thick bottom and a roof where the sun sits safe at the top. But inside the house, the other sun has risen also. Therefore, you two are coiled up at the top and have made a roof over the prison again at the bottom, so that the upper sun cannot enter. The two suns always want to be together. I said so, didn't I? The two cones, each has a sun. You want to let them come together because then you think that thus you could become what you could be one. You have now drawn up both suns and brought them to one another, and now slope to the other side. That is important. Equals equal sign. But then there are simply two suns at the bottom, so therefore you have to go to the lower cone. It goes on. I'm not going to continue it because it's this is not yeah. Anyway, I wonder if he will explain that at some point. But there are there are actually more footnotes. It goes through about three more. My God, it's more. It's a whole lot more from this guy. Quoting about these runes. Inexplicable. And it's just like it's actually about half of the next page. I don't understand why they would put this in here without making any attempt to help us understand this. Very trickstery. What is going on with this guy, Jung? I just don't like this is just insane. Anyway, there you go. That was the, I think, 13th section. I'm not going to continue that stuff because it's like ridiculous. That was the 13th section, I believe, in Liber Secundus, second volume of the Red Book entitled Hell. Oh no, sorry, this is entitled The Sacrificial Murder. Okay.